Walter Dean sat on the hard, cold sidewalk, his back pressed against the rough brick wall of a nearby building. At 67 years old, he had seen much in his lifetime, but the years had not been kind. His once proud army jacket, now frayed and worn, carried memories of service that felt like a distant echo. The fingerless gloves on his hands provided little warmth, but were a reminder of his past life, where he fought for something greater than himself. As concertgoers swarmed around him, laughter and loud chatter filled the air. They jostled each other excitedly, their colorful outfits and bright accessories creating a lively spectacle. Yet, amidst this vibrancy, Walter felt a world apart. Mocking whispers floated through the air like sharp arrows aimed at his heart. "Look at that old man!" One young woman snickered as she passed by. "What a loser!" Another voice chimed in, sending a ripple of laughter through the crowd. Walter lowered his gaze, staring at the crumbling pavement beneath him. The vibrant life around him seemed to amplify his loneliness, each shout and cheer reminding him of how isolated he had become. Memories of friends lost to time and battles left behind flickered through his mind like old photographs fading into dust. He clutched his hands together tightly, wishing to find comfort in the warmth of human connection. Instead, he could feel the chill of indifference creeping closer. As the crowd pressed forward, their excitement radiating with every step they took toward the entrance, Walter's heart sank further into solitude. But little did he know that something unexpected was about to change this moment of despair entirely. The air was thick with laughter and chatter as concertgoers filled the street, their voices rising above the music that pulsed from inside the venue. Groups of friends, dressed in bright, flashy outfits, danced with excitement as they shared stories and jokes. The shimmering lights from the concert stage spilled onto the sidewalk, casting colorful reflections that seemed to add to their joy. Balloons floated overhead, and the sweet scent of food carts wafted through the crowd, creating a festive atmosphere. Amidst this jubilant scene sat Walter Dean. While everyone around him was animated and carefree, he remained still, a solitary figure lost in a world that had completely overlooked him. The mocking snickers directed his way sliced through the happiness surrounding him like a knife. "What a sad sight!" one passerby remarked loudly enough for others to hear. Laughter erupted from nearby friends who glanced at Walter with pity mixed with amusement. Walter's heart sank further, as he felt their judgmental gazes pierce through him. Each laugh felt like an echo of his own struggles, a reminder of battles fought both on the field and within himself. The vibrant surroundings only amplified his feelings of sorrow. While they reveled in life's pleasures, he was trapped in memories of better days that seemed forever out of reach. He wrapped his arms tightly around his knees, seeking comfort in a world that showed him none. His fingers brushed against the worn fabric of his jacket, a stark reminder of his service, and he closed his eyes for a brief moment, trying to block out the noise. But no matter how hard he wished it away, the laughter continued to ring in his ears. Little did he know that somewhere amidst all this joy and mockery, someone would notice him and bring a moment of unexpected change into his life. The concert venue buzzed with life, a dazzling spectacle of lights and sounds that seemed to pull everyone in like a magnetic force. Bright beams of color danced across the crowd, illuminating their faces as they moved to the beat of the music that spilled forth from the grand stage. The rhythms pulsed through the air, a vibrant symphony that echoed in everyone's hearts, igniting laughter and cheers that filled the night. Strobe lights flickered above, making it feel as though stars had descended from the sky to join in the celebration. People twirled and swayed, lost in the moment, their spirits soaring high as they celebrated together. The sweet sounds of guitars and booming drums set a lively backdrop, enticing even those who were merely passing by to stop and soak in the excitement. Food carts lined the street, their sizzling delicacies creating an irresistible aroma that mingled with the crowd's enthusiasm. Cotton candy spun into fluffy clouds, while hot dogs sizzled on grills, tempting concertgoers to indulge in treats as they chatted animatedly with friends. A nearby juggler caught attention with his colorful balls flying through the air, drawing gasps and applause from delighted onlookers. Yet, amidst this thrilling scene, Walter sat unnoticed on the sidewalk. The thumping bass and lively chatter swirled around him like a whirlwind, but it felt more like a distant echo than a reality he could touch. As he watched joyful faces filled with laughter and excitement pass by, he felt like a ghost, a silent observer in a world that seemed to revolve around everything but him. While others lost themselves in the jubilation of the night, Walter clung tightly to his memories of service and sacrifice, feeling more invisible than ever. They danced, they sang, and they celebrated life while he remained trapped in his own shadows. Little did anyone realize that beneath all this glittering surface lay stories of struggle waiting for someone to notice. As the bustling crowd continued to revel in the excitement of the evening, a sleek black limousine pulled up to the curb, drawing immediate attention. The moment the door swung open, an electric hush fell over the throngs of concertgoers. Emerging from the car was none other than Elvis Presley, adorned in a dazzling white rhinestone jumpsuit that sparkled like a constellation in the night sky. Elvis stepped out with an air of confidence, his trademark hairstyle catching the light just right. The crowd erupted into a chorus of gasps and cheers, each person eager to catch a glimpse of the legend who had defined an era. Cameras clicked wildly as fans shouted his name, desperate for a selfie or a wave. His presence alone had transformed the scene. Vibrant energy surged through the crowd as they clamored for his attention. With each step he took towards the entrance, the atmosphere shifted. It wasn't just his looks that captivated onlookers, it was how he seemed to embody joy and charisma. He paused briefly to greet fans, flashing his charming smile and offering waves that sent thrill rippling through those lucky enough to be near him. The energy was palpable, creating an invisible connection between him and his admirers. Despite all this commotion surrounding Elvis's arrival, Walter remained seated on the sidewalk, still feeling like an outsider peering into another world. Elvis's stunning entrance served as a stark reminder of everything Walter lacked, a spotlight that never shone on him, despite years of service and sacrifice. Yet it was in this moment of celebration that Elvis's gaze suddenly shifted. He spotted Walter sitting quietly amidst all the glamour, and something shifted within him. In that instant, as Elvis moved away from his fans toward the entrance, he made a choice, not just to enter but to acknowledge someone who had been left behind. As the cheers and applause surged around him, Elvis's charismatic smile suddenly faded as he caught sight of Walter sitting on the sidewalk. The joyful noise of the crowd dimmed in his ears as he locked eyes with the lonely figure, and a wave of contemplation washed over him. In that brief instant, the celebration receded, replaced by an awareness that pierced through the festivities. Elvis's demeanor shifted from that of a confident superstar to something more grounded and genuine. The laughter and excitement of his fans faded into the background as he felt a pull toward Walter, a longing to bridge the gap between their worlds. As he took a step away from the adoring crowd, a quiet determination filled his stride. He was no longer just another star basking in the spotlight but someone who could make a difference, if only for a moment. Approaching Walter, Elvis moved with purpose, his rhinestone jumpsuit shimmering even more brightly in the night. The buzz of the crowd began to fade, replaced by a profound silence as onlookers noticed the king of rock and roll diverting from his path. Confusion mixed with admiration spread through the audience, who watched with intrigue as Elvis crossed that invisible threshold separating fame from obscurity. When he reached Walter, Elvis knelt beside him, lowering his gaze to meet the veteran's weary eyes. The air crackled with unspoken words, and for the first time that evening, Walter felt seen. Elvis didn't need to say anything. His presence alone spoke volumes. It was an act of recognition in a world that had largely ignored Walter's existence, and in that moment of connection, the weight of loneliness began to lift ever so slightly. The bustling energy around them faded into a gentle hum as if time itself had paused, allowing this unexpected meeting to resonate deeply within both men. Elvis settled onto the sidewalk beside Walter, his presence forming an unexpected bubble of calm amidst the swirling chaos of the concert. As he sat down, the vibrant energy of the crowd seemed to recede, like waves pulling back from the shore, leaving behind a tranquil stillness that contrasted sharply with the excitement just moments before. The shouts of fans and the pulsating music faded into a gentle background hum, creating a space where time felt suspended. Walter turned to look at Elvis, his eyes wide with disbelief. The king of rock and roll, someone he had admired from afar, was now sitting next to him on the sidewalk. There was no glitz or glamour in this moment, just the quiet sincerity of two individuals sharing a rare connection. Elvis's rhinestone jumpsuit sparkled under the streetlights, but in this moment, it was not just the shine that captivated Walter, it was the kindness reflected in Elvis's gaze. Around them, the concertgoers continued their revelry, but their laughter now seemed muted, almost as if they were witnessing something sacred. Some paused in their tracks, puzzled by this unusual sight, a superstar sharing a quiet moment with a homeless veteran. Whispers filled the air as people exchanged glances, trying to comprehend why Elvis had chosen to sit with Walter instead of basking in the adoration of his fans. Walter felt a warmth spread through him as he realized that someone cared enough to notice him in all the noise. There was no rush or pressure to speak, they simply sat together, two souls momentarily united in an imperfect world. Walter took a deep breath and let it out slowly, allowing himself to feel a flicker of hope instead of despair. In that serene moment, surrounded by chaos yet untouched by it, he began to believe that perhaps he was not as invisible as he had thought. The atmosphere of the concert had shifted dramatically. As Elvis settled beside Walter, a ripple of silence moved through the crowd like a wave. Shocked gasps mingled with hushed whispers as concertgoers turned their attention from the stage to this unexpected scene unfolding on the sidewalk. The joyous sounds of laughter and music faded into an anticipatory hush, creating an almost surreal ambience. People exchanged incredulous glances, many of them standing frozen in their tracks. Some raised their phones to capture the moment, confusion etched on their faces as they tried to grasp the significance of this encounter. "Is that really Elvis?" someone murmured, disbelief tinged with admiration. Others leaned closer, straining to catch a glimpse of the iconic star sitting quietly with a man whom most had overlooked moments before. From boys with wide-eyed excitement to women whispering among themselves, the crowd was united in awe at the sight before them. The stark contrast between Elvis's shining persona and Walter's humble, weathered appearance struck a chord with many. Some began to understand that this was not just a meeting of two individuals but a statement, a reminder of compassion transcending fame and status. Elvis's choice resonated deeply within the people standing around. They were witnessing something more than just a celebrity's moment. It felt like a powerful message about seeing those often ignored in society. Questions hung in the air. Why had he chosen Walter? What was he telling all of us about kindness and empathy? In that serene silence, the crowd began to feel something shift within themselves. The initial shock gradually transformed into reflective contemplation, allowing them to reconsider their own lives and interactions. The waves of celebration and revelry were replaced by a collective realization that sometimes, giving attention to another soul could carry more weight than all the glitz and glamour of a concert. It was a profound moment, one that would linger in their hearts long after the night ended. As Walter sat beside Elvis, a whirlwind of thoughts rushed through his mind. The contrast between the vibrant crowd and his own solitude felt even more pronounced in this moment. He glanced at the concertgoers, their laughter ringing out like music, while he remained anchored to the sidewalk, a solitary figure amidst a sea of joy. Memories flooded back, days spent in service, camaraderie with fellow soldiers, and the pride he once felt wearing his uniform. It was a stark reminder of how far he had fallen from those moments of purpose. He could still recall the thrill of marching in formation, the sense of belonging that came with being part of something greater. Now, that sense of purpose had faded into a distant echo, replaced by an overwhelming sense of loneliness. The mocking laughter that had once pierced his heart now seemed to blend into the background noise of the concert. He wondered if anyone in the crowd even knew his story or cared to ask about it. In the face of such excitement and celebration, Walter felt like a ghost haunting his own life, invisible to those around him. He longed to share his experiences, to tell someone about the battles he fought, not just on the field but against his own demons since returning home. Yet every time he opened his mouth, words failed him, leaving him trapped in silence. But this moment was different. As he sat next to Elvis, Walter felt a flicker of hope igniting within him. Maybe this legendary figure sitting quietly beside him could be a bridge between his past and present, A reminder that connection could still exist even in the darkest moments. For the first time in a long while, Walter allowed himself to believe that he might not be completely forgotten after all. He looked at Elvis, searching for reassurance in those kind eyes, feeling an unexpected warmth spreading through him as he clung to this fragile yet powerful moment of human connection. Elvis turned to Walter, breaking the silence that enveloped them. "You know," he began softly, his voice warm and genuine. "I've seen a lot of people in my life, but it's not every day you come across someone with a story like yours." Walter's heart quickened at the unexpected kindness in Elvis's words. Walter looked down at his hands, the worn gloves barely hiding the scars that told tales of hard years. I used to wear a uniform," he replied slowly, each word like a stone dropped into water, rippling outward. "Served my country. Didn't expect to end up here, like this." Elvis nodded sympathetically, his expression shifting from celebrity charm to sincere empathy. "I can only imagine what you've been through," he said softly, emphasizing that he wanted to understand rather than judge. "You're not as invisible as you think. Not to me, anyway." The crowd around them buzzed with excitement and laughter as they eagerly awaited Elvis's next move, yet within their small bubble, time seemed to stand still. Walter felt a warmth spreading through him, igniting something deep within, a feeling of being truly seen. "It hasn't been easy," he admitted, vulnerability creeping into his voice. "Sometimes I wonder if anyone cares anymore." Elvis leaned closer, his eyes earnest. "Believe me, people do care, just sometimes they forget to show it." He paused for a moment, then added, "It takes courage to share your story. It takes courage to just keep going." Walter felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes but fought to hold them back. In this fleeting exchange with a man so celebrated and adored, he felt a connection that transcended fame and fortune. For the first time in many years, he realized that sharing his struggle could open doors to understanding and compassion. As Elvis smiled at him encouragingly, Walter's heart swelled with hope. Perhaps this moment could inspire others around them to see beyond the surface, to recognize the humanity in everyone they encounter. In a world often obsessed with celebrity glitz, this simple conversation reminded both men of the true power of empathy and connection amidst the chaos. As the conversation between Walter and Elvis came to a natural pause, the world around them began to shift in subtle yet profound ways. The crowd, once buzzing with excitement and laughter, now held a collective breath, absorbing the kindness shared in that precious moment. People looked on not just as spectators but as witnesses to something greater, an act of empathy that transcended the glitz and glamour of celebrity culture. Walter felt a surge of warmth within him, knowing that he had connected with someone who truly understood. That brief exchange stirred something deep in the hearts of those nearby. Eyes watched more closely now. Some were filled with hope, while others reflected introspection. The questioning whispers turned into conversations about compassion and what it means to really see one another. Among the onlookers, a group of young people stood together, their previous jeers replaced by thoughtful nods. They whispered among themselves about Walter's story and how easy it can be to overlook someone in need amidst all the excitement. In that instant, they realized that fame did not elevate individuals above human struggles. Instead, it could serve as a platform for kindness. As Elvis rose from his place beside Walter, he offered one last encouraging smile before rejoining the vibrant crowd. The applause resumed, but its tone had shifted. Cheers were laced with newfound reverence for those less visible in society. Walter remained on the sidewalk but felt different, no longer merely an observer in a world filled with laughter but an important part of human experience. This unexpected moment would ripple far beyond the night. It served as a reminder that sometimes all it takes is one act of kindness to change perceptions and encourage others to look beyond appearances, to recognize each other's humanity amid life's chaos. As Walter sat back against the cool pavement, he no longer felt alone. He was part of something bigger, one shared moment bonding everyone present in understanding and compassion.